since the mid-'80s. Started as a buyer of industrial scrap and owned my own company for 10 years after I did that, and then sold it to what is now Sims, and then opened this company back in 2001. And what I do is I go out to companies and help them with their sales, marketing, customer service. That's the things that I like to do. I have another trainer who does safety and leadership. And so we have lots of fun, and he's a very energetic speaker. And I use improv in lots of my a lot of my presentations because I used to do stand-up comedy and improv. And now I ask you to do that because what it does is it really helps us be better people. Not improv, but listening. And we're going to spend a lot of time on listening. But before we get started, we're going to play a game called Zip Zap Zap. And Zip Zap Zap is a game that people maybe on Whose Line Is It Anyway play before they go on stage. I have a lot of friends that are in LA now that are in movies and on TV and stuff. And when we get together, we still play Zip Zap Zap. But because I do it all the time, I can beat them now. It's really fun. So I need 5 people. And, you know, the ones that are leaving, why don't you come up? And maybe 2 more. Right here in a circle. I'm not punishing you. I just want you to have fun before you go. Okay, stand in a circle. Do we have any women that might want to play? Yeah, I know you from yesterday. I know you can do this. All right, so we're going to stand in a circle. Can we have? Okay, this is good. All right. So we're going to do a pattern game. It's called Zip, Zap, Zap. So just say it. Zip, Zap, Zap. And we're going to want to look and have eye contact with the person that we're passing it off to. So we're going to go slowly right now. And it's zip, and then you're going to go zap. But do this. Okay, so zip, then you're zap. Yes. Zip. Or is that zap or zap? You're zap. Yeah, zip, zap, zap. Say it again. Zip, zap, zap. Okay, in sequence. Right, okay. Zip. Zap.
Zap, zap, zip, zap,
Zap, zap, zip, zap.
zap, zip, zap.
Okay, so they're going to play. I'm going to get out because I will win. So we go like this. Now we have to have somebody listening, and you're so close, Sam. Will you listen? And if you hear it go out of sequence, ring the bell. Somebody sits down. And at the end, somebody wins a T-shirt. All right, scrap dog T-shirt, by the way. Would you be the starter?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
Zip, zap, zap, zip, zap, zap, zip, zap, zap, zip, zap, zap, zip, zap.
I know the same expression. I must.
Okay, go ahead. We'll let it go. Go ahead. Go. Keep going.
Zip, zap,
Zap,
zip, zap,
zap.
zip, zap, zap.
Down. Okay. Bring it up and a little louder, please.
Zip, zap, zap,
Zip,
zap,
zip,
zap, zip.
zap.
Good.
Zip, zap, zap, zip, zap, zap, zip, zap, zap, zip, zap, zap, zip. Zap.
Too long. Yeah, you're done. Okay, and now it's the showdown.
Zip, zap, zap, zip, zap, zap, zip, zap, 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 zip. Okay.
All right, you get a T-shirt. And what's your name?
Nate.
What size would you? We'll come up after, okay? All right. Oh. You will? All right. He's leaving, so he's got to take the T-shirt off. Okay. What that does is just gets the energy going a little bit, right? And it's kind of fun, and it's really fun with beer. So listening facts. We're going to talk about listening because it's the most important part of any sort of communication. Sales, management, anything you do. Marriage, children, friendships. listening is the thing that's most important. Listening is not hearing, right? Because we can hear things sometimes, but we don't resonate. Really listening is a compliment to the person speaking. So when you're talking to someone or asking them questions about themselves, they feel good. Listening is a skill, and it can be learned. I know this because I was a horrible listener. Someone said to me, Judy, you might really want to work on your listening skills. And I thought, okay, this is probably the last time I'm going to ever talk to this friend, right? But I went to the Barnes & Noble, and with a babushka and sunglasses, sort of, into the self-help section. And there were a lot of books about listening, and I said, oh, this isn't just me, this is an epidemic. I bought 5 books, and in the first chapter of the first book, I realized that I had some severe listening problems. And so I've been studying it and working on it and sharing it ever since. Being a good listener is one of the finest attributes a person can have. Are there people in your lives that you call when something is good? Is there that one person? It might be because they're great listeners, right? They really like, are there people that call you when something good happens? It's because you are a good listener. You don't say, if somebody calls me and they say, I just got a promotion, I'll say, I know, I have had several promotions, and I know exactly how you feel. They're not going to call me anymore, right? I have to say things like, that's wonderful, that's great, tell me about it, share with me how that happened. And then you become a good listener because you just sit, and actually if you become a good listener, it's a lot easier. You don't have to talk so much. If we were supposed to talk more than we listen, we would have 2 tongues and 1 ear. Our friend Mark Twain said that. So listening tips are, just stop talking. It's plain and simple. Do you know anybody that talks a lot? They talk about themselves a lot. They take every single conversation and they can bring it back to themselves. When you're in sales and you do that, there are some people that you call on that might be okay with that, but I would say 90% are not. Concentrate on really listening, and that's what we're going to do here today. Eye contact helps. It helps you listen. When you're looking around, of course, at this convention, this is how everybody is. Hey, Sam, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? We're all looking over the head of the person or behind the person. I've even seen people do this. They're not even engaging with the person. Everybody's smiling back there because we've all done it. But we want to keep with the eye contact, and not that creepy eye contact where you remember on Seinfeld there was an episode about the person that just kept staring at the person. Anybody know anybody like that? I was doing training once, and there was a guy, and he just kept staring, and I couldn't even look at him. It was creeping me out. And avoid distractions. When you're listening, you can't be distracted. So what are distractions that we have on a day-to-day basis, right? Phones. So if somebody's telling you, my kid broke his leg, and you're going, really? Whoa. And you're not listening to them, then what does it really say? And be patient. If you like to talk, you'll get a turn. So we're going to play another game. So get used to games. How about the people who are going to leave? Come on. No circle. This time it's a line. Okay. And anybody else who wants to play?
Yeah.
Would you like to play? Sure. Would you like to play? All right, good. I'm going to call on all of you. What this game is called is One Brain. At Second City, I learned this. And there they call it Dr. Know-It-All. I call it One Brain. What we're going to do is we're going to answer. You want to get away from that so it's not blinding you? Good. All right. Yep. I just didn't want it to blind your eyes. We're going to ask them a question, and they're going to answer it one word at a time and with punctuation. So if I said, how do you like the weather in Vancouver? It might go something like this. The weather is pretty rainy here, period. However, comma, one day it was not raining, and I did some sightseeing, period. One word at a time. All right? So your job is to give them a question, any question. It could be topical, it could be about the industry. What's the question?
What do you like most about Vancouver so far?
Good. What do you like most about Vancouver so far?
I love water.
Weather. Kids.
Beautiful. Here. Period.
Good. Keep going. What's something specific?
Harbor.
Calm and majestic. Just one word and majestic.
Good job. Period. That was pretty good. There was a little bit of where they went off on a run-on sentence, but rebounded beautifully. While you're doing this, what are some of the things that you feel?
Panic.
Panic?
To like get word quick.
Okay.
Confusion. Yeah, keep going with your idea.
Yay. So you want to stay with the idea that you're given to by Josh, really, because it can change right there. What else might you have felt?
Teamwork.
Teamwork? Yeah, definitely teamwork. Did anybody find themselves thinking ahead?
Yeah, I'm trying to anticipate what the right.
Okay, so if you're on a sales call and you're thinking ahead, what happens?
Stop listening.
You stop listening. But you never stopped listening. None of you did. I can tell. Sometimes it really goes wrong, this exercise. And somebody might say to the other one, hey, what's that mean anyway? They get mad at each other and stuff like that. But that didn't happen. They did so well. Could we give them another question? Sports? How about a sports question? Whatever.
Did you watch the game last night? Or what did you think of the game last night?
Which game?
Yes.
Oh, you know what? Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Okay, what did you think of the Canucks game last night?
The game was long.
Period.
Love watching hockey. And
Period.
Okay, yeah, they're pretty good. Thank you so much. They're pretty good, aren't they? They're in tune to each other. That doesn't always happen. And a lot of times when I'm doing this at a company and they all know each other, and somebody throws a word out like, I went to the heart, and then the person next to them will go, heart? Or somebody will tell them what to say if they stop a little. How about when we're calling on somebody? Does anybody maybe a little impatient sometimes, and they're speaking with people who talk slowly, and then you finish their sentences? Ever do that? So we do that in sales, and sometimes it's not what they're going to say. So we have to, like in this game, it teaches us to be patient, let people finish their sentences, and it's fun. Question. Common everyday questions that we ask people and you have a handout, just write some down. What are some common everyday questions? So, how are you? How's the family? Nice weather. What do you think of the weather? Right? Those are common everyday questions. And then we want to make those into open-ended questions. If the question can be answered in only a few words, we're going to change the question. If you're asking a client, how's your family? And they can say, good. Then you haven't really asked a good question. We want to say something in that regard, if it's a relationship type building question. Tell me about how your family spent spring break. Something like that. Or tell me about your son's football, if you know him. Or instead of just saying, how's Johnny doing at football? The answer could be fine, good. Tell me about Johnny's football team. Then all of a sudden, you just sit back, put the recliner on, and just listen. And it's not hard to take a regular question, a common everyday question, and make it an open-ended question. I concentrate on that constantly. I stop myself mid-sentence and reconstruct so that it's open-ended, because I have to continuously do that, because I'm an A-type personality, and I like everything to get done quickly. What are some common sales questions that we might ask when we're out on sales call?
Scrap, that's how's the flow into your yard?
What kind of scrap do you have?
No,
You say?
how's the flow into your yard? That's the common question.
How's the flow into your yard?
Flow into your yard. Or you might ask, what do you think the market's, where do you think the market's going?
Where do you think the market's going? Those are great open-ended questions, right? How's your inventory? So you're already on track to open-end it. Many sales people, when I'm with them in this industry, in any industry, they say things like, I'll just use the scrap industry, say scrap metal. They'll say, what kind of scrap do you have? And then sometimes they'll do this. What kind of scrap do you have? Aluminum, stainless, steel? They answer for them. Anybody ever do that? So you want to do that. You want to ask, tell me about your scrap. Tell me about how your scrap program looks today. I have pages of these questions, if anybody's ever interested in them. Yes?
Can I give you an example?
Sure?
I just got a text from one of my yard managers. He goes, hey, I have a load of tool steel. Can you, what's the pain thing? There's like 100 different kinds of tool steel. Like, you have to be more specific. Like, what kind of tool steel do you have? Like, don't say, I got a load of tool steel. I have no idea what kind he has.
Yeah, you want to be more
It needs to
communicative.
be more specific so I know exactly what kind it is. So, of course, I asked him, I said, what kind do you have? Is it so, and I even gave him examples of what kinds.
All in a text.
Yeah.
Cool. But it's, yeah, the open-ended, so it seems to me that you're very good at open-ended questions, but not everybody is good at that. What are some other questions that we might ask on a sales call?
What are your biggest headaches?
What are your biggest headaches? Again, open-ended. You guys are already on to me, so that's very good. What's another one? How about when we come home from work and we have maybe a significant other, a spouse there, right? What might we say to them? How's your day? Good, fine. We're going to do an exercise later, but I'll tell you now because some people are leaving, but after we did the exercise, he went home and did that at home, the same exercise, and his wife said, after about 15 minutes of open-ended questions, she said, are you having an affair? See, she didn't believe it, that he was so interested in her. And they've been married a lot of years. He just hadn't really asked her much about herself. That's something that I work on all the time, because we tend to do it the least with people we know the best. All right, so what we're going to do is break into groups of 3 or 4. Try 4. Yep. And we're going to have a good idea. What's the good idea that we can have? What's the best idea, this room? Somebody have a good idea? All right, I'll give you one. I think that we should grow hair on oranges. Okay? I think we should grow hair on oranges. Seems silly, right? You have your group, get a group, and what we're going to do is somebody's going to be the leader in the group. Pick a leader. You need one more person here. Or you can go back to that group.
Been in 2 games.
So the leader is going to say, I want to introduce to you an orange with hair on it. And I want all of you to say no and a reason why that can't happen, okay? Just keep doing it for a couple minutes.
I want to introduce an orange with hair on it to you. That's bad. It's probably
Bad idea, it's gonna freak people out.
We missed the question.
Well, you gotta answer me.
Let's say no. It's no. This right now you're just saying no to that idea. Mhm.
We missed the question when we're forming our group and introducing each other.
Oh, okay. The question is, who's the leader? I have an orange with hair on it. I think we should market that. We're going to market an orange with hair on it, and then you have to tell him no.
No, it's gonna be heavier to ship.
And why?
On tear weight there.
No.
Yeah, maybe stand up too. You know, a little energy.
Some hair
Huh?
for your orange.
All right. So now I'll change that to. I want to. You guys should have given me an idea. I always use the hairy orange. I have an orange with hair on it, and I'd like to market it. And now change your answer to yes, but. Say yes, but, and then say something about that hairy orange. Go ahead.
Yes, but I mean,
An orange with hair on it, not like.
Yes, but.
Yes,
Yes, but somebody already beat you to market.
yes, but it's got to be false.
Okay, and now do it with yes and. Because in improv, that's what we always do. Yes and. So I have an orange with hair on it, and I want to market this to the public, and you'll say yes and it can what?
There's an orange with hair on it, and I want to mark it.
Yes, I think that's weird. It's like rainbow color, it would really help.
what about banana apples?
Yes, and you were gonna beat on there.
That was, you're right.
Yes, and also,
All right, so this group is going great with the yes and. What happens when you say no?
scissors or
So think of an employee coming in.
kind of
Employee comes in, they have an idea,
hairstyles
and you say no.
in the orange.
How do they feel? How did you feel when you heard no?
Yes,
You shut up, right? And then when you say yes, but, then now how did you feel when somebody was, when you were, pardon?
papaya, for example.
You guys still do playing?
He's the leader.
So when you say yes, but, what was happening?
It's also a little like, it's not a bad idea, but, we gotta explore it. It's softer letdown.
Right, it's a softer letdown. And then what happened with yes and? Kind of moves it forward. All of a sudden, they were marketing different flavors, and you said, yes, and we're going to go broke, but it was okay. It was like, it wasn't negative. She didn't say, no way without being, yes, and it's probably not going to be profitable, but okay. When communicating with people and in improv, if you're on the stage and you see does anybody ever go to improv? Okay, so you go to the improv and two people are standing there, and if I said to this person, are you waiting for a bus? And this person said, no. It stops the action. It stops the scene. It stops everything from going forward. And if you're getting trained to do it, you're actually yanked off the stage. Are you waiting for a bus? Yes. And it's really rainy out here. And then the scene progresses. And that's what happens in business, too. We want a yes and more often. And just try it. It's really kind of interesting. You'll find yourself, now that you're aware of it, you'll find how many times you say no in a day, or but, yes but, or no but, or something. But yes and is a good way to move forward. Keep putting this thing down. I need to have that. All right. The last word. I need people who aren't leaving to come up here. like 7. Or how about this whole group? How about your whole team? How's that? We'll do it by teams now. You want to get on this team?
Sure, because I wasn't a good leader already.
Okay. So just kind of stand in a line here so everybody can hear you. And we're going to use the last word. This is not a good line. Right, how about here? This way. Okay, good. Thank you. They're going to use the last word. When we're going to ask you a question, okay, and we're going to say, well, this is just the example. What do you think about the weather in Vancouver?
4.
No, you can use the sentence.
The weather has been very rainy.
Okay, so that's the last word. Rainy, you have to start the next sentence with his last word. Okay? That's your word is vegetation.
Vegetation in Vancouver is pretty.
Pretty.
Vancouver is a very nice city, very pretty.
Pretty. What, say it a little louder. Pretty. Vancouver is. You have to use pretty first. His last word is pretty. Start with pretty. Mm-hmm.
Pretty much of the people in Vancouver are nice. People in Vancouver are very nice. Nice is how I describe the people of Vancouver.
Vancouver is a great city to be in.
Yeah.
You from the tall buildings are you can
That's okay. Go ahead.
the views from the top of the buildings in Vancouver you can see very far. Far is what I describe as convention people are very happy. Happy people make me happy.
Oh, good. All right, so get up and do this with your group now. Somebody starts the sentence, and then you go around, and go around like 3 times. You guys already know how to do it, but do it again.
That's me. Yeah, we gotta do it in Spanish, that's no problem. You gotta be funny.
I will try in Spanish.
Sí. Good start.
You want me to start?
You can lead us.
Okay. The hockey game last night was very exciting. That was good. I haven't tested it.
Here's where I'm from.
Exciting was the way I described the game last night.
State what you think about South Carolina.
Night in Vancouver is scary.
The scary is walking dark hours.
Ali is the name of the disco that we're going to.
All right, so when you're doing that, what does it force you to do?
Listen.
Listen all the way to the end, right?
Yes.
And so, and you really all stayed on the same topic. You know, you can really kind of go off if you want to, but you're very focused, so I let it go. But listening till the last word is really, really important. In conversations with people, my husband will, I'll say something like, on Friday night, I'll say something like, do you want to, and then he'll go to dinner? Well, no, that's not what I was going to say. He'll fill it in. If he listened to the last word, he might have found out something different. But I'll say, okay, good, that's what you want to do, go to dinner. But anyway, it's a good thing to do, and it's a good exercise to listen to the last word. Now we're going to give advice. So stand up with your teams again. All right, but you know what? Let's do it over here. Why don't this team come over here? And then you have to talk a little louder. And we'll do it, and then we'll go back and do it with our team. This is a little bit like yes, but, no, yes, and. But it's about advice. Does somebody want, we'll do it on three. That's okay with 4 people. All right, who wants to be the leader here? Oh, anybody that nominates somebody else is then the leader. Okay. All right. So here's the bad news. You have a problem. What's his problem? Give him a problem.
His flight tomorrow is canceled.
Your flight tomorrow, Larry, is canceled. I want everybody to talk to him and use "you should" first. All right? So Larry's got a canceled flight. Tell him, Larry.
I need to get home tomorrow. My flight was canceled.
You should contact your travel agent and see what options are available.
You should look into renting a car to South Carolina.
You should have left earlier.
Go on.
You should reconsider other options, like driving or even a bus.
You should consider looking into train service.
You should ride with me to Oklahoma.
Okay. Are you really driving? Okay. All right. All right, now say you could. Tell him your problem.
Same problem.
Same problem.
I need to get home tomorrow and my flight's been canceled.
You could ride with Wright to Oklahoma and catch a connecting flight.
You could still rent a car and drive to South Carolina.
Going through Texas, right?
Right. Be a little low.
You know, you could just say,
You could drive to Seattle and catch a flight out of Seattle.
You could still look into train service to South Carolina.
So what's the difference between you should and you could? It's much softer, it's much nicer, it's more collaborative, it's a better way to give advice. When I was younger, I read a book and it said to take the word should out of your vocabulary. It's really not a great word, is it? It's kind of bossy. You should do this. You should do that. I should. You know, it's negative even when I sit and use it on myself. And then one time when I was doing this, somebody said, how about if I said, if it were me, I would? How do you feel about that kind of advice? Is that okay? Is that a little softer too?
Can be, but it can also be.
Yeah.
Right. So I think we could always go with you could. So when someone comes up to you and they have a problem, I'm going to be late for work next week every single day. You should or you could. You want to try and use those words in communication. And you'll find, as we're doing this now, you're kind of looking at me nodding, but it's going to happen in a half an hour. You can go ahead and sit down. That will come up. You'll hear somebody tell somebody what they should do. And then you're going to think in your head, wow, if you would have just said, or she would have just said, you could, that would be better. We're going to skip that one. It takes too many people. What we're going to do now is we're going to find a person in the room that we do not know. We're going to, for 5 minutes, ask them open-ended questions just about them. You're not going to offer anything about yourself. So, Suzanne, if you were my partner, and you said, I live in Texas, Denton, Texas, and I could say, oh, my cousin was a nurse in Denton, Texas. I could start talking about that. Instead, I'll say, tell me about where you're from. And I will refrain from saying anything about myself or anything that pertains to me. I'm only going to focus on Suzanne for 5 minutes. And then when that's up, Suzanne's going to do the same thing back. Okay? So pick somebody, and I'll tell you when to start. You already did.
Mark.
Does everybody have a partner? Is there anybody that doesn't have a partner? Oh, we're good.
Oh, okay.
That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
I will ring a bell and have you switch, but I'm getting my stopwatch out,
Okay.
and we're going to go.
You work for APC? No. You work for... And what does COSTEC do?
Oh my goodness, I'm terrible at this.
Refurbisher for APC.
All right, go.
We are the
That's okay. That's okay. I'll set it at 5.
and we also have a R2 and RIA certification. So we got that because we generate a lot of e-scrap just in our process of refurbishment. So we recycle about 700,000 pounds of batteries a year, not a year.
But not automobile batteries like from e-scrap.
No, they're actually sealed lead acid. So sort of the same. I mean, they're just not car batteries.
Okay.
But they are sealed lead acid. It's pretty much the same battery.
Just different application.
Exactly.
Same product, different application.
Yeah. Good. So they're generally smaller than, like, we have some of the giant batteries that go in these, like, massive units. But most of what we do are 350 to 10. Small desktop application to in a server rack, like 6 units.
And you refurbish it?
Yeah, that's all we do.
What if they're non-refurbishable?
Then they go to scrap. Just took 6,000 more feet in our business park, but it's actually not connected. There's a tenant in the middle of us, so
you have a plan
on the other side.
So you have a plan to eventually get the tenant out to merge?
Either that, or they're also looking for more space as well.
Oh.
So we might move. Our lease is up in 2017.
Yeah.
So we've been actively talking to realtors and guys that are. We might just pop up a building in the middle of a cornfield somewhere.
But would you want to stay in the same immediate area where you're at now, or it doesn't matter?
I don't think it matters.
Okay.
We have our core team of people would move wherever. So
Because you're all young and mainly single?
within, yeah, for the most part, yes.
Okay.
But I'm not talking hours away. I'm talking within a 40-minute
Driving distance?
Yeah, driving either way.
Great.
Right now we're in some flex space, so it's a little bit more expensive.
I don't know what that means, flex space.
It's just like warehouse and office together.
Yep.
So when we move, we'll probably take like just straight warehouse and then kind of just remap it for the front office ourselves because it's like $750 a square foot where we are right now, and where we're looking we can get it for like.
Okay, switch off. You can finish your thought.
Yeah.
Switch off.
So tell me about what you do.
I work at Mid-City Scrap. It's in Westport, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Family-owned and operated business. I am part of Generation 2.
Awesome.
So it's your family that owns it?
Yes.
Okay. And who started it?
My dad and two uncles.
Okay.
Unfortunately, they are no longer with us, so it's now our company is run by cousin Louis
Okay.
and myself.
Awesome. So what's your daily function?
I run our scrap company, and cousin Louis runs our steel service center. So we're one family, two divisions. So I'm the general manager and everything of our scrap company, and my cousin runs our steel company, doing the same thing I do, but working with the industry.
Okay. How many locations?
Our scrap company has one in Westport. Our steel company has two locations, one down the street from us, which we recently moved into the building from scratch. And we have another location in ISRI.
Oh, okay. What made you choose Connection?
I have no idea. We just happened to find the place.
Okay.
And we rented for a while because we didn't know if it was going to work. And then we decided to buy the facility because we rented for a while. It was a rent to buy, which we did. And we've been there for 6 years. And we just decided to make another big expansion at that facility because we had the space.
Awesome. So what's your background like? When were you working there as a child? I mean, did you grow up with it completely?
In summertime in high school, worked there in the summers at our scrapyard because that was our original business. And after college, I decided it was a bad move for me to work in the family business because I was always somebody's son or nephew. And I felt I should find out how successful I would be without having anyone over my head. And in my first job I had, which was in New York City after I graduated college, within 6 months I completely failed.
What did you go to college with?
Business at Boston University.
So then after you failed,
Favorite part of this exercise is when I ring the bell and people continue to talk. Because it means that something has happened, right? Somebody has connected. You did good. See, you made a friend and maybe a business contact. What happened during this exercise? What just happened? When you were receiving the questions? When you were giving the questions?
Receiving the answers.
When you were asking somebody questions, how did that person feel?
I think we were focused on the other person.
You were more focused
On
the other person.
Yep.
Was it difficult how difficult was it to resist jumping in? See, that's what happens. It really happens. We do like to get back to us. That was 4 minutes each. What else? Do you know that person perhaps better than you might know your next door neighbor?
Yeah.
Yeah. I live in the
And
hood,
you've
so
lived there how long have you lived there? Do you know that person perhaps better than the person you work with, or maybe a client? It's really, really important if you can do it, and you all did it. Focus on the other person, and wonderful, wonderful things happen. I just love this exercise. Does anybody want to share something that might happen in the?
I think maybe I'm being a little presumptuous. I thought we did well going on both sides of the equation.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I was thinking quite a bit about, I might want to say something, but the purpose was to just let him go and me try to lead him.
Good.
Hopefully, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really challenging not to have a conversation.
Uh-huh.
To be entirely one-sided. It wasn't that I wanted to jump in and share information about myself, but I wanted to relate to what he was saying.
But did you still get to relate anyway? Not as much as you wanted to.
Tried to hold back.
Yeah, it is hard. But if you're with a client or on a call or with somebody that you care about, it's really nice to do that for them for 4 minutes. If it's just 4 minutes, it's really not a lot of time, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Anything else? Did anybody learn anything that they thought was kind of interesting?
I guess answering the questions was a little bit easier than giving the questions for me. So it kind of showed me that, when you give the questions, especially I guess in a sales type situation, then it would probably make that person a little bit more comfortable because they're just answering to what you look best.
Yeah, I agree. Anybody feel uncomfortable with all those questions? Sometimes I have people in there and they're like, I just didn't like all those questions about me. Usually that's a woman that says that, by the way, but not these women. So it's a very, very powerful exercise. It's an exercise that you can bring back to your office and do at a meeting. Just break up, make them do that. And people will get to know each other. Things that have happened, and I will share with you on this exercise. I saw an older man in his 80s and a young guy in his 20s talking, and I thought that, and there were about 100 people there, and I saw this one, and I thought it was interesting because they were really engaging. And then right when it was over, I saw the young guy take out his phone, and I said, of course, he can't wait to get back to his phone. I had my little, moment of being not nice, and I thought, what's going on up there? But the older man was very engaged with the phone, too, with him. Turned out that the older man had an accent. The younger man said, tell me about your accent. And he started to tell him where he was from. And he said, well, where is that near? And then he kept asking him all these questions. It turned out that that older man and this younger man's grandfather grew up in Austria in the same town. And he called his grandpa and they talked. How about that? And the guy came up to me after and he said, this was amazing because I would have never asked him that question. Never. But when I asked him, it got so much more interesting. Another company, I did this, and two people started talking, and they found out that they lived about 8 blocks from each other and started carpooling. And this was also the exercise where the guy went home and started asking his wife questions, and then she asked if he was having an affair. But it's a very powerful thing, and it's a great thing at home. You can't really do it with a teenage boy because they can still answer every question with good and fine, right? If anybody has a teenager. All right, so from this whole class, what's your takeaway on communication? What people hear. Rather than what you say. How about the yes and versus no?
In relation to that, but also some of the other items, I think they've given tools to facilitate encouraging conversation from others, and then highlighting the communication to ensure you're doing after this. I think the tools you gave to facilitate conversations. The example you gave.
Okay, so you get some facilitation tools to encourage good conversations. And meaningful conversations, right? Rather than just